Well, to finish off then, this little one, Julius Caesar in Kent. I've done, this is my third little video I've done on it, and what I've done, I've tried something that might interest somebody, I don't know. I've done a couple, I just put the books on for a bit of weight. These are the books from the previous things that I've just done, and I'll just move them out of the way. And what I did, I made a dust jacket for the Gracchi, and Marius and Sulla Epochs of Ancient History by A.H. Beasley. And it's similar to what I normally do, except that I do it in softbound books normally. I make a copy for a softbound book, but the softbound books come out like something like this. This is a softbound book. Same thing, except that this one's a hardbound, of course, obviously. And what I've done is just do a Dustcover, because I can't put the gold. Most people can't put the gold stuff on. I can put it on, but I haven't really got into it yet. It isn't something that's really struck me. I'm still interested in bookbinding more than I am in gold lettering, but I will get round to it eventually. And I'm just sort of climbing up to it, and this is one of the things that I did, and I did it in the same manner, except that it is just what I got was two A4 pieces of paper and stuck them together in the middle, and the solution that went in quite well, and then I cut it to dimensions, what dimensions I wanted to fit the book, etc, etc. And then you don't have to mess about too much with it, because it is the same size as the book. And what I did then, I went to my printer and I printed off a couple of pictures and a centre line, and I stuck the centre line in and the two side bits in, and that's about it. I cover it in Pabulon, so there's nothing really to it. I mean, it's not too technical, but there's a couple of faults. It's not 100%, but it does save the back of the book as a dust cover. I mean, dust covers are just dust covers. Most people disregard them anyway, but they make a book look rather nice, and it does leave a thing on the side where you can read it, so you can take it off the shelf if you so wish. And yeah, so that's the first hardbound book I've ever done with a dust cover on, or not a slip cover, or whatever you want to call it. And I've left a couple of marks, which I won't do on the next one. I've left a couple of spot marks so as I could line this up properly. And you have a couple of experiments till you get the size of the picture you want, and then you just stick it on. You do a print preview on your printer and then print it out. You don't want to do too many in colour, because it runs away with your coloured inks. But I mean, you're only going to do one of these at a time, so if you do about, say, maybe you get a dozen books out of it, I mean, that'd be quite good if it's something that interests you. It isn't difficult to do, and I think I might make a video on that, how I do that, just in case somebody is interested. Anyway, I'll still stop there, and I'll put the books back on it to cover the weight, make the weight of it, and I'll say adieu. It looks better than just an ordinary book. It looks a bit better, and you can see it's a hardbound with a thing on it, whereas that's a softbound book, or a softcover book, whatever you want to say. I can't call it a perfect bind, because it's not, because I always stitch mine at the back. I never leave them unstitched. I never do that stupid thing what to do with the perfect binds. I think they're horrible. Anyway, I'll stop there and see how we go from there. Well, starting where I left off last time, I did the Gracchi, Marius and Sulla by Beasley, and I put a cover on this one, but I wasn't really I wasn't really all that good about it, I'm afraid. And if you look carefully, you can see there that I glued these pieces in onto the white paper after I'd stuck two pieces of foolscap together. I stuck them together, and then, because they're exactly the same size as a B5 book on this side. You don't have to cut them at all on this side. You've only got to cut the ends off so that the caps go inside and make sense. But when you put the glue on, it pulls the paper in. And I thought that wasn't very, very good. And I also left little marks on where I'd done my lining up marks. Well, this time I cut the pieces out, and I think you'll find that this hasn't got a covering on yet. There's no covering on this yet, but you'll find that it's relatively flat and it isn't pulled up. It isn't wrinkled or cockled or anything like that. And how I did that was that when I put it on, I put the centrepiece on first. There are a couple of little white lines there which I can rub off with a little rubber. They're only light, and I just put the smallest amount of glue on each end and a little piece in the middle and let it nearly set, and then I line them up with these two top lines very carefully. You can see where I've got the lining up points there, and I put the book in my little jig which I have here, and folded it up so it was all square. Put the piece over and fold it up so it's all square, and then put this piece on the back so it was absolutely square, and then I put the backs on. And what I did with the backs is I just tacked each point and then let it dry, and then I went round the corners very gently with the most minute pieces of bits of glue on my brush. And you can see I've left a little thing there, but it doesn't matter because we're going to glue these in anyway. We're going to put a surface over the top, and I'm hoping that will be sufficient with the Fablon cover on. So I don't know what you think about that, but when I'm going to let this dry up completely, because if you do this before the stuff is dry, the Fablon will never seal. The Fablon will never dry, and you'll get a wrinkle and it'll stay wrinkled. So you must let this, under whatever amount of glue there is on there, you must let it dry off thoroughly. Leave it as long as you can possibly do, so it's absolutely dry before you ever put Fablon near anything that's wet. And I think I'm getting the hang of this now. I was a bit disappointed with the first one, but this one I'm more happy with it, and it's gone in much quicker. And I'm hoping I'll get a better result on that one. And when I've done the result, I'll just pull into, let you see what it is. When I've done the result, I'll let you know. And what I've got to do yet, of course, is to measure up and cut the flap so as it corresponds with what I want. I don't want all that paper all the way down there, so I'm going to have to cut a piece off there. I think I was a bit miserly with this one. I was a little bit miserly with that, so I think I'll cut a little bit bigger flap to give it more purchase. So I'll stop there, and we shall see what we shall see in the next part. Well, I finished the item off. This should be my last little bit. I've just had a little bit of weight on, not much, just enough to set. This was the botch job one. And I put the Fablon on. I've got Fablon on. I don't know what you think, but I don't know if you can see the shine on that. I can't, yeah, it's got a hell of a shine. And it went in quite well. And there's nothing raised on it, there's no raised portions. I'm quite pleased about that bit. But inside I've also done, on the page inside, I put a little sheet with a little bit of information, Caesar in Kent, and a little bit of thing that I took from one of the books, inside the book, just to explain. I did the same on the back. And it seems to have turned out quite nicely. And it doesn't look too bad. And nothing's changed. I mean, you haven't hurt the book or anything. I mean, even if you fail at one attempt, I've done several of these, and I've been disappointed. And I've now come out with this idea, which isn't 100%, but I haven't got Photoshop to do everything in with it. It's a little bit expensive, and people that are making books and things probably haven't got Photoshop either. So I mean, Photoshop can do all of this for you in one go on one sheet. But this is a method of doing it where you stick your little bits and pieces on, and you can do it for the odd 1 or 2 books if you want. I wouldn't like to do it for a lot of books, but I'm quite pleased with it, putting the corner bit in, and it does look the part. And I'll take the back off completely just to show you what it is. And all it is 2 pieces of ordinary paper, white paper, just stick together in the middle. I don't know if you can see it there. Down the centre, I'll stick it down the centre. And if you're very careful, you won't get any raised sections on that if you apply the glue very, very lightly. Try to don't get any water. Use neat PVA if you can use it, if you've got any. And it's just folded up, and it's quite simple to do. And these are stuck on pieces. I printed them out in my printer, and I did a table. I made it half a page and then cut it out. And or you can do it full size if you want, and then just print small and then cut it out after. They're all cutouts, so you can do cutouts and then put them on the bits of paper if you want. So, and that's all it is. And you know the book's homemade because Caesar in Kent. Julius Caesar in Kent. So if you're not happy with the cover, you can take the cover off. But I was reasonably pleased with that. And it will keep the book clean. So there you go. And I hope that's been of some interest to somebody. I don't know if it is any use, I've got no idea. But I've never seen anybody else do this, so I would imagine there are some things on the net whereby people have actually done these. So yeah, just bits of cut-out paper, and there you are. I might do another couple and show you them what I've done. I've got no idea. I might find a quicker method or a different method. If I do, I'll let you know. But if anybody wants to know how to make them, I'll show them. But I mean, you can virtually make it from what I've just shown you here. It's just a matter of cutting out your little bits and pieces and making sure things fit. Anyway, I'll stop there. I wish you